The old man stood in the middle of the marble-floored bank lobby, trembling, not from age, but from the sharp sting of humiliation. His hand, marked with faded scars and a trembling wrist, held out an ID card that bore a younger version of his face in uniform, but the teller's voice cut through the air with chilling disbelief. "Sir, this is clearly fake. Veterans don't dress like that." A snicker from behind. A young couple scoffed. A security guard shifted uneasily, and the room fell into that cold silence, the kind that's louder than shouting. But no one saw what was coming. No one imagined who would walk through the door next. His name was Raymond Ellis, a name once carried across radio channels in the desert winds of Kandahar. A name sewn onto uniforms now folded quietly in a closet he rarely opened. P-72. Raymond lived alone in a modest apartment, walls lined with forgotten medals and a photo of a woman who never made it back from the hospital that he had once commanded respect without speaking a word. Now, he barely got a glance when he walked into rooms. Twice a month, he came to this bank to deposit his VA pension, a routine as sacred as his morning black coffee. He always wore his tattered camouflage hat, more out of habit than pride. But today, something felt different. Eyes followed him longer. Whispers lingered, and then came the accusation, quietly brutal, shamefully public. Fake vet. Probably just wants benefits. Raymond didn't flinch, but inside, something buckled. The teller, a young woman with bright nails and an impatient tone, waved his military ID dismissively. "This doesn't even look real. Sir, if you don't leave, we'll have to involve security." The guard, a man half Raymond's age, stepped closer, hesitantly. He didn't want to escalate, but he also didn't want to question his colleague. Behind them, the murmurs grew louder. "He probably bought that hat online. Scammers use that vet thing all the time." Raymond's lips parted, but the words felt stuck in his throat, like a soldier trying to call for help in a dust storm. He wasn't just losing respect. He was losing his dignity. And still, no one asked. No one paused, until a sudden gust of air rushed through the entrance. The glass doors swung wide with force, and in walked a man who hadn't been seen in public in over 2 years. Brigadier General Marcus Wen, decorated, feared, revered. His presence was a command in itself. Tall, broad, his polished shoes echoing. Like distant gunfire on tile, the room froze. Even the fluorescent lights seemed to dim. His eyes swept across the room and locked on Raymond. His jaw clenched. He didn't ask questions he didn't need to. With a stormy calm, he marched to the teller's desk, looked down at the trembling ID card, and then at her pale face. "This man," the general said, voice like steel wrapped in fire, "carried me out of a burning Humvee in Mosul. He has more right to stand here than anyone in this building." Silence in. One breathed. The security guard stepped back. The young couple turned away. And the teller? She shrank behind her counter, suddenly smaller than she'd ever felt. The general didn't stop there. He turned to the onlookers, to the curious. Eyes that had turned cruel just moments ago. "This is what we've become," he demanded, voice thick with fury. "A country that mocks its warriors unless they're wrapped in flags at funerals?" He placed a firm hand on Raymond's shoulder. 29. Soldiers didn't make it out of that convoy. I did. Because of him. Raymond's eyes welled, but he blinked fast. He hadn't cried in years. The general looked at the teller again. "Apologize," the young woman stammered, her voice a whisper. "I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't know." "That's the problem," the general said. "You didn't care to know." Raymond didn't need the apology. He didn't need the whispers to stop or the stares to turn respectful. All he needed was to be seen. For someone to say, "I remembered." Yes, they walked out together, side by side. The bank behind them felt quieter than ever. The world hadn't changed, but for a moment, it remembered, and that was enough. Some heroes don't wear capes. They wear silence. They don't ask for praise. They carry pain like medals no one sees. So if this story moved something in you, don't just scroll past. Share it. Let someone else remember. And if you still believe in honor, in dignity, and in standing up for those who stood for us, subscribe. Because sometimes, the quietest stories are the ones the world most needs to hear. The reason someone still believes in goodness. Start today.